Hi Pisces, this is Mimi with Divination by Mimi. Welcome to your January 15th to the 31st tarot reading with a little bit of astrology and oracle guidance if necessary, although so far the messages have been pretty straightforward. You are a mutable water sign. You rule you rule the 12th house, the final house. You are the most evolved of all the houses. You are the most spiritual of all the signs. Your ruler is Neptune, which is total disintegration. It's fully understanding and embracing the fact that there is no you, there's no me, there's no clock, there's no finger. There's nothing that separates us from everything. We are everything. So you are fully aware of this, and in that you're fully generally compassionate. Other aspects in your natal chart to be considered, of course, but the nature of Neptune and of Pisces is fluidity, it's compassion, it's spirituality, and it's disintegration of the ego, of the self, even the body, if that makes sense. But while we are living in this manifested Malkuth Geb world, certain aspects of the three-dimensional world do apply. So this is where Pisces sometimes has some difficulty with having the full understanding that there is so much more than what the eye can see, but still having to deal with the fact that the eye sees. That makes sense, the three-dimensional world. So at the moment in your constellation, again, 12th house, we've got Chiron. I'm not sure when, but it's meant to go direct soon, if it hasn't already. Let me check that, actually. I'd like to know. We're in January. Actually, did Chiron already go direct? Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, Chiron went direct the 4th of December, and it's still direct. So Chiron is the wounded healer. Early wounds from childhood. This is the energy or the archetype that was a warrior, was wounded, and instead of fighting now, with his wound still helps other people who are wounded. And this tends to speak to early childhood wounds. So, and again, it's perfect placement in the 12th house with you, as you have a full understanding and compassion of what it might feel like to go through something. A very intuitive sign, Pisces, very, very intuitive. You also have Neptune, also recently direct. Your ruling planet in your 12th house, in your part of the sky, your constellation. So right at home there with you. And there's probably a couple things you're feeling. You might be feeling extremely aware, particularly with a aspect that recently occurred with the full moon at the beginning of the month. And that was in Cancer. There was a water trine that occurred where we were getting downloaded messages like mad. I kept seeing symbols. Hawks kept appearing to me. Like a hawk has appeared to me 4 times, and it's freezing where I live, right? He hangs out on this power pole, same spot, and looks down on me. That's what I'm talking about. Those things like finding feathers, animal totems appearing to you repeatedly, seeing numbers repeatedly, having archetypes presented to you repeatedly. Why am I being shown this? Dreams being absolutely fertile, right? So you're fully, I'm sure, aware of that. So you're probably very aware, antennas on, you're feeling all of this. At the same time, you're probably also feeling a lot of the strife and difficulty that's happening with an ever-changing world right now. As the planets are processing, changes are happening, and that's abrupt. It affects us, you know. So you're probably feeling a little bit of discomfort, as you are very empathic and intuitive, but at the same time you're probably getting major downloads right now. So you're here to help us all evolve. So here's a couple of aspects that might cause a little agitation. So we're doing this from the 15th to the 31st. So on the 16th and the 17th, depending upon where you are in the world, there is a new moon in Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which is kind of the strict dad of the zodiac. He rules the 10th house. He has to do with restriction, manifested three-dimensional world, gravity, things like that. You know, what is what is, okay? All just the facts type of thing. And he's home at the 10th house. The 10th house is Capricorn's house, and this has to do with reputation, but figures of authority. Now keep that in mind. These are positions of authority, law and order, institutions, courts, governments, big business to the point where it's enmeshed with government. Okay? There is an aspect being formed with Uranus, and this you will feel. I think we all will feel this. Uranus is recently direct in the sign of Aries. Aries is the first house, ruled by Mars. It's a fire energy. It's a young, impulsive, fast-moving energy. Uranus is the archetype for change, for rebellion, for revolution, for unexpected things to happen. He's associated with electrical energy and magnetic energy. So it impacts things like natural disasters. But as a rebel, and this is what I'm kind of focusing on right now, as a rebel or a revolutionary or an activist, and you'll find Uranus rules Aquarius, and one of my favorite activists of all time is still living, fighting revolutionary civil rights leader Angela Davis is an Aquarius. There's a very good example of that Uranian energy. Change for the good of all, collectivism. And you can totally get down with that, right, Pisces? So when he is making this 90-degree agitating aspect square with the new moon in Capricorn, 10th house, house of authority, cops, law and order, I think you see where I'm going with this. This activist spirit could butt heads with authority. So this might find you on a microcosmic level squaring off with your boss, your landlord, a cop, the courts, your parents, any kind of position of authority. On the world stage, it might show itself as increasing activism and revolutionary activity butting heads with authority, like the cops, like the court system, things like that. Like I mentioned this previously, the G20 group that was arrested at the World Trade Organization event. They are being detained and held and are being tried as criminals merely for protesting. So this is definitely the activist spirit butting heads with authority. This aspect occurring on that day, that 90-degree angle, is irritating and agitating, which sparks arguments, which sparks sparring between these two things. Structure, law and order, progress and change. The collective versus how it's always been in status quo and ruling from the top down, if that makes sense. So very much like the uncomfortable presence of an irritating grain of sand, irritating the flesh of the clam or the oyster. So, and as a result, it creates the pearl. That change that it's making, right, is uncomfortable. And you're going to pick up on that, especially as empathic and intuitive as you are. You're going to feel that. Try to take care of yourself and breathe your way through it. Meditate your way through it. Take care of your body. Okay, so that's the new moon on the 16th, 17th. The new moon's in Saturn. Excuse me, it's in Capricorn in the 10th house, squaring off to Uranus in the first house. So on that note, Uranus is making a move as we are ushering in the age of Aquarius over the next few years. In May, it's going to be moving into Taurus, and it'll be moving back and forth between Taurus and Aries for the duration of 2018 to 2024, or maybe 25. I'm not sure which. When it does this, because Uranus is unexpected change, it's breaking up stagnant energy. This can manifest itself in a lot of different ways, because Taurus, the second house, represents a lot of things: finances, the earth, and what I'm kind of getting at here is the body. So I'm telling all of the signs as we approach May, when Uranus brings us unexpected change to the second house, which does rule finances, the earth, and the body, okay? Take care of yourself. Make sure your immune system is where it's supposed to be. Try to eat good foods, superfoods that really boost your immune system. Drink lots of water, alkalize your diet, get enough sleep, and try to avoid too much, particularly you Pisces, too much chitter, chatter, angry back and forth on social media, because you pick up on that. It affects you, okay? And we need you to be healthy, and you need you to be healthy. All right, Pisces? So that's the new moon in the 10th house, where there is a lot of other planetary activity. So there's 6 other planets in the 10th house at this time. We've got 2 archetypal females. We've got Venus, which is the praised female archetype: beauty, sensuality, value. You could equate her with Aset or Isis in Kemetic tradition, or you could equate her with Inanna in Sumerian or Babylonian tradition, Mesopotamian tradition. And we also have Black Moon Lilith. That's the dark archetype, feminine archetype, the suppressed feminine, the scapegoated feminine. You could equate this with Aset Isis's sister Nephthys, or Ereshkigal, Inanna's sister. And really all these are two faces of the same energy, of the same goddess, because there is no light without dark. So of course the feminine energy will have a dark and a light side. So both the celebrated and the suppressed part of the feminine are highlighted as it relates to the house of authority. Interesting, right? We also have two male archetypes. We've got the strict father in Saturn in the 10th house, right where he's at home, where, you know, you rule from the top down, structures, law, order, the cops, that kind of thing. And then you've got Pluto, the lord of the underworld, who's kind of the sex, death, and power energy. So two male archetypes, two female archetypes. Then we've got the androgyne archetype of Mercury also in there. Now, at this point in time, the second fortnight of the month, Mercury will have been out of its shadow period as of the 11th, I believe, which was a Thursday. So no more hiccups with communication or technological communication for the most part. I mean, there's always something, but for the most part, Mercury is direct. He should be out of his shadow and moving along with momentum. The only thing to expect is some irritation or some difficulty with that square with Uranus. Just, you know, take care of yourself, watch your own energy, try to stay in peace, and take care of the body. And then the last important aspect I wanted to bring up to you, I'm sorry yours is also long here, is the second super full moon. This is two full moons, but not only two full moons in 1 month, but two full supermoons in 1 month. And this second one has an eclipse, and it's occurring in the 5th house of Leo. Leo's motto is I will. And the 5th house is about creativity, expressing the self for the sake of expressing the self. So along with that Uranian energy, you might find yourself where you may not have expressed yourself in the past, expressing yourself either creatively or just expressing yourself to get it off your chest. Valuing your feelings, validating your feelings enough to express them because they have value, because you have value. So it's the high octave of Leo, and it's very intensified, and it's very interesting that it's occurring with this Uranus square as well, because we are, as you well know, Pisces, we are not just the individual, but we are the collective. Okay, so what we feel collectively, we feel individually, and vice versa. Oh, sorry, that was a lot. So Pisces, that's it for the astrology. I'll stop jabbering on, and we'll get into your reading. I'm going to do a 4-card pull. It's based upon something that you're going through in your life at the moment. So this could be a situation you're feeling out or you're experiencing residual energy from the past. It could be something that's on your mind. It could be a major upheaval in your life. The first card of this 4-card pull will indicate what that is. And again, it's a general reading, so take that into consideration. Second card will indicate a positive aspect to it. Third card will indicate a negative aspect to it. And then the fourth and final card will indicate overall advice from Spirit, should Spirit wish to relay any. And if we need to clarify further, we will. The 4 cards don't cut it. This is for Pisces, mutable water, opposite to Virgo, disintegration versus integration. For January 15th through the 31st, 2018. What is going on with Pisces? What's Pisces feeling or doing? January 15th through the 31st, 2018, with Neptune, ruling planet, and Chiron, the wounded healer, direct in the 12th house for Pisces. Mutable water, January 15th through the 31st, 2018. Let's focus in here. Holy Hecate. What does Pisces need to know for January 15th through the 31st, 2018? Oh, wow. Beautiful feeling. The culmination of emotional satisfaction and love. Positive aspect of this. Let's worry about communication, about money, finances. You're really coming into your own as it relates to relating. This is the 10 of Cups, which is the full cycle, the full culmination of this suit, this energy, which is love, relationships, and also intuition. And I'm thinking that this is you really coming into your own with Neptune direct in your house and Chiron direct in your house. This is you coming into your own and evolving your true self, your true nature, which is beyond, it's beyond the physical manifested world. Now, granted, you live in the physical manifested world physically, so you have to abide by those rules to a certain extent. But all of our goals in this incarnation is to move beyond and to do what the 12th house talks about, disintegrate back into the one. So it looks like you're well on your way. Let's get a little more clarification, a negative aspect. So you're zapping your strength, or you're lacking strength at the moment, and then overall advice. Okay, this is a little clearer now. A little more clear. Let's get some clarification. So we've got one major arcana, the Leo card, or the strength card. Because it's major arcana, I tend to think of it more as the energy, which is strength. This is Tuph, which is serpent, wisdom. On the low octave is a negative, and as a positive, the low octave here is messages, as it has to do with finances or money. And then the overall advice is an end to the fighting. It looks okay. So I did do a lot of jibber jabber about the esoteric nature of Pisces, but I think we're getting down to a little bit more brass tacks for at least a specific Pisces as it relates to real life. So this is your family. This is the love in your life. This is the happy home, okay? There's been communication, or there has been fighting, and the fighting is coming to an end, okay? There's been back and forth communication. It seems like it has to do with money, like you and your partner are the two heads of the household, or maybe it's your parents that are doing this. The people that you love have been arguing back and forth about resources, about finances. So maybe there's been some financial constraints in your home. The negative effect of this on you has been, it's been zapping your strength. And that makes sense. Again, Pisces is very intuitive, empathic. It picks up everything, all the energy that's out there. So if there's any discord, you know, in the air, any fighting, it does zap your strength. It looks as though the fighting has got to stop. So if it's not apparent, if you are actually a party to this, or a party in this communication on resources, this arguing that's occurring, please be aware that it not only affects you, it affects other people, like children, if you have children in the house. But as it relates to you specifically, and it does feel more like it's you and your partner at odds on something. Spending money, some kind of resources, either health resources, because this could be health or finances. But there's been bantering back and forth, and there's been arguing, and you're pulling out of the argument to keep the happy home happy. And you need to get this back around so you can get your strength back. Because as I said, as Uranus heads into the second house, you need to have your immune system up where it needs to be. Because as empathic as you are, you will pick up on all sorts of energies coming from the outside. So protect yourself, energetically protect yourself, but protect yourself physically as well. Eat good food, drink enough water, get enough sleep, meditate, find your peaceful place within. Get your strength back, and there's going to be enough discord in the external world. I think you're smart to remove yourself from the arguments here so that you can get your strength back and be prepared for the onslaught of energy that's going to be coming at you from the outside world. Yeah, so smart move to focus on what's good in the family, and you disengaging from the arguments is very smart. Remember, stuff and things, resources, finances, health, is all a mental construct. We're creating our universe. It's a holographic universe that's affecting us as we're creating it, that's affecting us as we're creating it every second of the day. So all you really need to do is change how you vibrate, right? And getting out of arguments is going to raise your vibration and bring you back to a place, not only will your strength be repaired, right? And then you'll be back at a place where you can match up with the vibration of the things that you want and that we all want, which is love, relating. Yeah, so self-care, finding that peaceful center, and disengage from arguments, because stuff and things can be created at the drop of a hat. It's already there in an alternate universe. just got to get it, which means you just have to raise your vibration to match it, which means moving yourself from the arguments and stopping the communication and the back and forth banter about it was a smart thing to do. I hope this helped. You're on the right track. Just importantly, take care of yourself. The 3 legs of the triangle: mind, body, and spirit. Definite focus on body though. Okay? That's all I got for you, Pisces. I hope it helped. Sorry, yours was kind of long. If you have questions or comments on the video, please leave them in the comment section below. If you would like a personal reading, you can email me at mememes@hotmail.com. You'll find that email address in the description box below the video. If you haven't subscribed, I would love it if you did. I really enjoy the dialogue that we're sharing back and forth on the subject of the readings, but I plan on expanding that dialogue to include more subjects like politics, philosophy, esoteric studies, as we approach big changes in our world. If you liked it, like it if it helped you, and share it if you think it might help a friend, because the more you can share, the more knowledge that's out there, the better prepared we are for the big changes we're about to face. All right, Pisces, much love to you. Take care of yourself. Bye.